Hey there. So you're one of those weirdos that's never seen Star Wars. I knew you existed. It's likely that you're more concerned with things like getting laid and having girlfriends. Well, those days are about to change. Because now you can be a Star Wars fan like me, because I'm going to summarize it in under 10 minutes. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. I am going to summarize the entire first classic 1977 Star Wars film in under 10 minutes. So sit back, enjoy yourself, and get ready to kiss your sex life goodbye.
Galaxy far, far away. A big ship is chasing a little ship. The big ship catches the little ship, and the troops from the big ship board the little ship, kill its guards, and make way for their commander, Darth Vader, a half-cyborg man with a weird samurai helmet and a silly mask. He also has a chest plate that helps him to breathe and a big plastic thing over his crotch, who coincidentally has the voice of James Earl Jones, which makes him incredibly badass. Why is this whole battle happening? Well, apparently some plans were stolen by some rebels and sent to this ship. Darth Vader finds the captain, and when he says he doesn't know anything about it, he kills the captain. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the ship, a beautiful princess named Leia, who's trying very hard to look not beautiful by taping down her boobs under her dress and wearing her hair like sticky buns on the sides of her head. She actually has these secret plans, and then she goes ahead and hides them in this dome-shaped droid called R2-D2, who has this stuttering companion with an English accent for some unknown reason, who is a protocol droid named C-3PO. So this little duo gets thrown in an escape pod, and they escape out from the ship and fall down to the planet below. In the meantime, Princess Leia gets captured, interrogated, and then called a traitor by Darth Vader, which she denies. The princess is taken prisoner, and on the planet below, a desert planet called Tatooine, the droids are taken prisoner by these Jawas. They're basically junk traders, and they're not really that important. The Jawas then sell the droids to a moisture farmer. Yes, they farm moisture on this planet. And his nephew, an idealistic virgin named Luke Skywalker, who dreams of going off-world and sharing in great adventures and joining the Imperial Academy. He wants to be a hero. At this point, R2-D2 accidentally lets slip a message that Princess Leia recorded on him before he escaped in the escape pod. This message has Leia saying, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." Luke recognizes the name Kenobi as an old hermit named Ben Kenobi, a crazy old man that lives out in the Dune Sea, which is a fancy word for saying the desert. When Luke goes off to have dinner or whatever it is they eat on a moisture farm, R2-D2 escapes in the night. Luke's all pissed off, but decides that they can't go after him because there are too many sand people. We don't know who the sand people are just yet, but we'll find out in a minute. So Luke leaves first thing in the morning with C-3PO to find R2-D2. He finds R2 in the desert on the way to find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then they're attacked by sand people, of course. Luke is injured, but before anything serious can happen, Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up and scares off the sand people. He then brings Luke and the droids to his hut, where he says that he knew Luke's father, someone Luke knew very little about, seeing as he died when he was a young boy. He said that he fought in the Clone Wars with him, and tells him his father was the best pilot in the galaxy. Obi-Wan then tells Luke that he and his father used to be Jedi Knights, the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic before the Empire. R2-D2 then plays the message from Leia to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who decides that he needs to go to Alderaan, Leia's home planet, to meet with her father, and bring him the plans for the Death Star, this huge battle station that can destroy entire planets. Obi-Wan then tells Luke that he should come with him and learn the ways of the Force the same as his father. Luke says he can't get involved because he needs to help his uncle on the farm. Luke agrees to take Obi-Wan to Anchorhead, where he can find a pilot to take him off-world. On the way there, they find the Jawas, those junkers that sold Luke and his uncle the droids, and they're all dead. They were killed by stormtroopers, Imperial troops, the same kind that were on the big ship that went on the little ship. Luke then correctly ascertains that they were searching for the droids and then grows fearful for his aunt and uncle. Despite Obi-Wan's protests, Luke goes back home to find it in flames and his aunt and uncle dead. He then realizes there's nowhere else for him to go and agrees to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like his father. He travels with Obi-Wan to a place called Mos Eisley Spaceport, a wretched hive of scum and villainy where all the cool people hang out. We're then introduced to Han Solo, a smuggler/scoundrel who blows away some bounty hunter who tries to collect up the price on his head. Apparently Han Solo is doing some sort of job for Jabba the Hutt, some gangster, and dumped a bunch of spice. Anyway, Han meets with Luke and Obi-Wan. He agrees to take Obi-Wan, Luke, and the droids off-world without Imperial entanglements for 17,000 credits. He's hoping this will help him pay off Jabba the Hutt, the crime lord who put the price on his head for dumping that spice and that smuggling operation gone wrong. Oh, I should mention Han Solo's best friend and enforcer, Chewbacca, a Wookiee. Yeah, a big ball of fur. Anyway, on their way back to the ship, the Millennium Falcon, what that Luke calls a hunk of junk, the Imperials show up and try to take him out. They escape and jump into hyperspace, where Obi-Wan starts training Luke with a lightsaber and in the ways of the Force. While he's doing so, we see that Princess Leia is now on the Death Star, that big bad space station that she stole the plans for and gave to R2-D2 to go bring to Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's at this point that Darth Vader and his crony, Grand Moff Tarkin, destroy her home planet of Alderaan. Leia becomes very sad. Back on the Falcon in hyperspace, Obi-Wan Kenobi feels in the Force all the deaths of all the people and sits down and gets all sad and depressed and sick. In the meanwhile, Han Solo talks about how he doesn't believe in the Force. Well, they jump out of hyperspace and the planet has been reduced to an asteroid field. They're then captured by the Death Star. They hide under the floorboards of the Falcon, and they hatch a plan to go disable the tractor beam so that they can escape the Death Star. They jump a few stormtroopers and steal their uniforms. They hide out in a command office in the hangar bay. It's at this point that Obi-Wan Kenobi says he's going to go alone to disable the tractor beam. Then Luke, acting all whiny and emo, goes through the ship systems and realizes the princess is being held in a detention block. He tells his buddy Han Solo that they need to go rescue her. He says no until Luke talks about how rich she is. Then he says yes. Luke comes up with this great idea to pretend that they've taken Chewbacca prisoner and bring him to the detention block. Chewbacca himself doesn't seem very keen on this idea, but nobody cares what the Wookiee thinks. Once they get there, they let the Wookiee free and they shoot a bunch of people and then locate the princess. Of course, they didn't hatch a plan on how to get out, so they grab the princess and blow a hole into a trash compactor and jump inside. Of course, the Empire decides to turn the trash compactor on after Luke is almost swallowed up by a trash monster. But R2-D2 saves the day and they're able to escape the trash compactor. At this point, Obi-Wan Kenobi disables the tractor beam, but then runs into his old apprentice, Darth Vader. I forgot to mention that Obi-Wan told Luke that Darth Vader, his former apprentice, betrayed and murdered Luke's father, and implied that the Jedi are all but extinct now. So in case it wasn't clear, Darth Vader is the bad guy. But wait, there's more. The tractor beam's down, so Luke, Han, Leia, and the Wookiee get chased all around the Death Star until they make it to the Millennium Falcon. There they are joined by R2-D2 and C-3PO. There, watching from afar, Luke witnesses Darth Vader kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan's sacrifice allows our heroes to escape. After a brief space battle where Han and Luke shoot down some of the Empire's ships, they make it back to the Rebel base, although Leia knows that they're being tracked by the Empire and that the Death Star is probably close behind them. So the rebels make a plan to destroy the Death Star and Luke volunteers for the mission. Han Solo does not. He takes his money and he leaves. He's got a price on his head and he wants to pay back Jabba the Hutt. Fair enough. During the mission, pretty much everybody else dies but Luke, including one of Luke's childhood friends who we only get introduced to now, which is a bit mysterious, but whatever. In the meanwhile, Darth Vader's gotten into a ship and he's shooting people down left and right. At this point, the Death Star is almost in firing range, which is bad for the Rebel Alliance. When Luke is flying, he hears the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi who tells him to use the Force and let go. Luke disengages his targeting computer and decides to rely on the Force. This freaks everybody out. In the meanwhile, Darth Vader's caught up to him, and he shoots at him, and R2-D2 gets his head pretty much blown off, but somehow he survives. Oh, that's right, he's a fucking robot. Just when Darth Vader's about to blow Luke up, Han Solo comes out of nowhere and shoots the TIE fighter next to him down. This causes Vader to crash, although he does survive. They go back down to the Rebel base, and they're crowned as heroes by Princess Leia, and even the Wookiee gets a medal. In the meantime, Darth Vader flies off, plotting his revenge.